So, day one before noon. This is my first sprint. I call it sprint. It's a course sprint actually, because it's of course not like a sprint in Scrum. It's not 1 to 4 weeks long, but at least it's based on the idea of and the principle of Scrum. So all 4 half days are iterations, are sprints, course sprints. So we use the basic idea. The first day before noon comprises 5 different chapters. The first one is called Intro. Intro means simply that I set the stage, that I explain how the course goes, something about the classroom situation, something about the roles we have in there, like I'm the trainer, but I'm also something like the course product owner, and that we then set up the breaks, etc., and all the administrative aspects. Also something about the legal aspects need to be covered, at least here in Europe, and that's what I do in the intro section. We start then with the Agile Foundation, which is a little bit about the history of Scrum, about agility, some dates, some names like Sutherland, Schwaber, Takeuchi, Nonaka, etc., the new product development game, etc., etc. You can also read that in the document then. The Agile Manifesto is an interactive section where I, with the participants, reproduce the Agile Manifesto, but not only the 4 pillars we have in there, of course. We explain also what is meant that, for example, working software is more important than comprehensive documentation, things like that. So how to read it, how to interpret it, but also that we have something before and after that, yeah? So that we have the uncovering of better ways of developing software, etc. All these kind of aspects are covered in here. And what also is important in here is that we talk about the relation between Agile and Scrum. That means about the empirical process control framework, which is Scrum, which is something that's about how to manage something, how to structure something, what the rules are in there, what it means, and that for empirical process control we need the 3 pillars like transparency, inspect, and adapt. So this is covered in here, and that Agile is more a mindset, more a philosophy. And we also add to that the relation of the practices, like what's going beyond, what engineering practices mean for Scrum, and that it's becoming efficient and effective, yeah, like continuous integration, collective code ownership, etc., etc. Then we can continue with an exercise, the Scrum framework. This is the first time when I introduced time boxing in the course. And we talk also about the concept of time boxing. Scrum framework is an overview about everything which is covered in there, the events, the roles, and the artifacts. And then of course we have the Scrum values also covered in this regard, because they connect to each other, to the other 3 chapters actually very closely, and they are very highly connected. So that's the reason why we summarize and why we end the first half day with the Scrum values, and what the effects of the Scrum values are, when they are important, what kind of importance they have for different roles, etc. Like said, we call the half days course sprints. That means we start with a planning and we end with a review and a retrospective. We use the basic ideas of Scrum, that we have in the beginning something to plan for the first 3.5 hours, and in the end we see what we have done, what we achieved more likely, and whether we have done well or not, if we should improve something, if we should change something, we should adjust the structure, the dynamics, the concept, etc. That's what we do by the end of the first half day before we go to the lunch break then.